When the name John D. Rockefeller is brought up, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Lots of money.
Well, wealth, okay? John D. Rockefeller was a very wealthy man. And he's known very well in the history books, especially in the section that talks about industry, American industry. And because during the 19th century, the American economy grew in leaps and bounds. And Rockefeller was within these industries that grew. His Standard Oil Company was one of the wealthiest at a point. Many people saw him as a wealthy man, but others saw him as an evil, mean-spirited, and cruel man for running down businesses because of his great company. Nevertheless, he created a business that made him one of the wealthiest men in America and eventually the first billionaire in America. His mother, his Scottish mother, was grown up in a prosperous farming family. So since the beginning, his mother taught him to be an industrious boy. She taught him to raise turkeys, and he would sell the turkeys and then keep the money until it accumulated to a certain amount. So his mother taught him a lot about making business more than his father did. There's a story that I read that Rockefeller tells that how his mother impacted him. His neighbor asked Rockefeller to let him borrow money, but Rockefeller actually went and consulted his mother first to see if it was okay to let him lend the money to the neighbor. And of course, his mother agreed, and Rockefeller lent him the money. And from this, he learned a big lesson of interest, borrowing, and saving, because the neighbor returned the money to him with an extra interest of $3.50. To us, that may seem like a little bit, but for him, it was a lot, because he was, I don't know, maybe a teenager or a child. So his mother taught him a lot about the business, while his father, William Rockefeller, was a big and robust man. This guy had a curious combination of love and contempt. He once told his neighbor, I trade with the boys, I skin them, and I just beat them. I want to make them sharp. And he really did make a sharp man in Rockefeller in the future. Unfortunately, his father was living a double life with another woman, so this kind of affected Rockefeller. He became a quiet boy in school, and things like when the boys went to go play baseball, he would keep score instead of playing baseball with the guys. So he was really quiet. But his quietness did not keep him from making money and doing his chores at his house, milking the cows, taking care of the turkeys. Eventually, when he graduated high school, he entered college to study the elements of bookkeeping. Once he had studied the elements of bookkeeping, he decided it was enough to start his own job, to look for a real job. So he eventually earned a job as a clerk at an office of merchants and produce shippers. Correct. Apparently he really liked working, because when he came and he accepted the job or went to the interview, he didn't even ask for the salary. He just simply accepted the job, and after he accepted the job, he came to work every day. He was set to work without asking for the salary. But, eventually he got a little greedy. He decided he wanted a raise, and the business couldn't offer him the raise. So he went to search for a new job. And when he was searching for a new job, he found himself in a new industry, something that would make him the most successful man in America. Along with his partner Clark, they started a new industry, or a new business. It was called Clark and Rockefeller. They opened their doors to the public for the first time in 1859. It was a produce and shippers business. Their industry had soared. Their profits soared, especially during the Civil War. But Rockefeller was looking for more. And he had heard about the oil in Pennsylvania. With less than a day's travel by train, the oil regions of Pennsylvania lay. It was a fantastic local in America. One of the most fantastic locals in America. So Rockefeller was certain that investment in oil was a great one, because Pennsylvania oozed in oil and dreams, and from oil, villages just boomed in a matter of months. When they finally got the chance to start a business, they wanted not to dig the oil, but simply refine it. They wanted to buy crude oil and refine it. That's what they were focusing on. And when they finally got the chance to start a refining business, him and Clark accepted the chance, and their business boomed just as much or even more than their first business. But along with their businesses, other refineries spread out around Cleveland, which was where they started the refinery. And they had competitors. So Rockefeller wanted to expand because of his competitors, but Clark, his partner, did not want to expand. And they had a problem there. They ran into a problem. Eventually, they ended up auctioning the company out between Clark and Rockefeller, and the auction started at $500, and it soon increased to $75,000. And when it got to $75,000, Clark simply stood up, pointed at Rockefeller, and he said, "It's yours." And Rockefeller had it. And once he won the company and he had control over it, over the Standard Oil Company, that's what it was called, he started to expand horizontally and vertically until he became the strongest and the largest refinery company in Cleveland. They were able to get discounts on freights and rebates. His competitors had no chance after the expansion. He was buying them out one by one. And the refiners that didn't buy out to Rockefeller, they simply just sold out. It was too much for them. The Standard Oil Company was becoming a huge, strong refiner. And this is why people hated him. They thought that his big monopoly-like company was running businesses into the ground, and people protested against this. They opposed this. So Rockefeller ran himself into some problems. But since he had so much money, it kind of did him good. Got him out of the problem. As Rockefeller became old, he became a great philanthropist, which very people see appreciation in. The money he gave away to charities and other organizations increased every year. For the first time in 1901, he gave away $2 million just that year. And by 1919, he was giving away $138 million annually. John D. Rockefeller soon became an old man whose passion had become golf. He passed his business to his son, John D. Jr., who to him was his greatest fortune. The more we look into the life of John D. Rockefeller, the more we look into the life of an incredibly successful man. For some, he was a cruel man who ran businesses into the ground. But for others, and for most of us, he was the greatest American that ever lived.